professor will give you battle ready to take your competition down. I hear the bell. Let's get to class.
Here we are again at Fantasy University. He's the professor, I'm Noster. And today we're going to be talking to you about one of the most important positions in fantasy sports, the running back. And today the focus is going to be on AFC running backs. And there's only one way to start a show like this, and it's to tell you that if you don't realize Chris Johnson is the #1 overall fantasy pick in any league, you don't need to be playing the game. Plain and simple. But since only one team can get him, we're here to talk to all the rest of the teams about who they need to get at the running back position. So if you don't get Chris Johnson, give me a few names here that you would need to target to help fill out your roster and get your team a good base.
Well, as far as the AFC, I'm looking at a guy like Ray Rice. Ray did a great job last year. I'm looking at Joe Flacco being a lot better with the passing game with Bolden, and that will give Ray Rice even more running room. So I look for Ray Rice to really step it up even more than he did last year. Also looking at Cedric Benson. I mean, what can you say about Cedric Benson? He was a throwaway, and he did it. I mean, it's hard to...
In Cincinnati, they call him the Beast.
And well, they should, because he is just a battering ram. Now, can he do it 2 years in a row? You just have to watch preseason, see how he does. He's towards the end of last year, he was banged up quite a bit. So just look at his situation in terms of the injuries. But yeah, he's a guy he can very well be in the top 8.
I think we're on the same page with those two. I am a big Ray Rice fan. I just missed him by 1 pick in my main league last year.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Day late, dollar short. The story in Oster. But yeah, I like those two guys a lot. And you know, good running backs can have great talent and be great athletes, but there are reasons to stay away from great athletes sometime. And one of the guys I think you need to stay away from, who might be getting a little type, is this C.J. Tiller of the Buffalo Bills. I'm sorry, he's a great athlete, but if the offensive line can't get the job done, he's not going to be able to run anywhere except for his life. And if he's doing that, I mean, I don't care how good you are, if there's no room to run, there's no room to run.
Well, too, in the quarterback situation, if you can't pass and catch the ball, you can't open up the run either. But they can't pass and catch the ball if protection doesn't last more than 2 seconds. So the offensive line has to man up. Buffalo Bills offensive line, man up. Start blocking some people, please, for everybody's sake. But no, I would not touch a Buffalo Bill player. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Last year I had 4 teams on my list not to draft a player from, and this year I have 2 teams that, just because of the situation they're in, I wouldn't want any Browns or Bills. I could be wrong about the Browns. They got some guys with talent, and I do believe if you're in a keeper league, you may want to look at some of those guys long term.
Very long term.
But Mike Holmgren is good. He will put the team back on the map. It just won't be this year.
Yeah, I agree 100% on those. But tell us, Noster, what are your sleeper picks? Maybe not for a starter, but everybody in fantasy football understands you need a good third back for the times that your back might be out, or in every year you got off weeks. So what sleepers are you looking at this year in the AFC, please?
Well, the trick to sleepers in the running back position is to get young guys. because the difference, you know, young guys have fresh legs and they can have a lot of speed. From the wide receiver position, experience goes a lot more benefit to the wide receivers. One of my sleepers is actually a rookie. I'm not sure how much PR he's getting right now, but I like Ben Tate of the Houston Texans. Number one, their running back last year, Steve Slayton, he's losing a step. He's not that big. He's not that strong. He's serviceable, but in the NFL, you need a little more than serviceable, and this Ben Tate could get some extra carries in there.
Yeah, he's been, Slayton has already proven that he's not durable.
Right.
And you got to have durability. You got to have somebody you can count on in the pinch.
Yeah. And durability is another key to my next sleeper, because in Indianapolis, the starter, Joseph Adai, is getting older and he's having some durability issues. Now, I know Donald Brown was hurt for a little while last year, but he is younger and he's got fresh legs. He's got Peyton Manning, who's willing to take all the time in the world with him to teach him the system. So I think Donald Brown, especially on a long-term basis, is a great sleeper. And I do think getting toward the middle of the year onto the last half, when your fantasy bulls start coming into play, that Donald Brown could be a really good addition to your team.
If I may add, I think a real sleeper, and he's not much of a sleeper, is Sean Green of the Jets. I mean, he really looked good in the playoffs last year, and now he's going to get the bulk of the carries. So
yeah, I consider him a great running back. I don't consider him a sleeper, because once you do it in the playoffs, they know you. And one of the downside to that is, once they know you, they have film on you. The more film they get on you, defensive coordinators are very intelligent people. They can figure out how to stop you. But Sean Green behind that line is the real deal.
Well, when I say sleeper, he did in the regular season. Basically, most of the Yahoos and places, they rank a pre-ranked system for the next year. So he will be lower on their ranking systems, which in terms of sort of would make him a sleeper. You'd have to move him up on your draft day charts.
Yeah, and he's definitely worth moving up.
Definitely.
How about you ready to pass out some grades there, Professor?
Sure.
All right, I want to give you two guys here and tell me who you would give the higher grade to.
Okay.
Denver Broncos, Correll Buckholder, or Noshawn Marino?
I tell you what, Noshawn Marino, he's got a little bit more youth. Buckholder's older. I would go with Noshawn.
I like that too. Just want to see what you think. Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams. Ronnie Brown coming back from injury. Ricky Williams, just ageless wonder, seems to be, with limited carries, doing great production.
Yeah, whatever Ricky's smoking, it's doing him well, I tell you. But no, seriously, Ronnie Brown, if healthy, I would stick with Ronnie Brown to get the majority of carries. But never count out Ricky.
Rashid Mendenhall, is he the real deal? It's his job to lose now.
Well, I should hope he is. He looked pretty good last year, but Moore also looked really good. So I think the Pittsburgh situation might be a little bit like the old Denver Broncos. No matter who you put in, they seem to be able to run the ball.
Pittsburgh is a running team, so it's a good place to get a running back from. And this is Fantasy University, a good place to get fantasy advice from. I'm Noster, he's the professor.
Have a good day, but a better tomorrow.